Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Chris Does Reviews. On this channel, basically, I'm going to be reviewing stuff. Games, movies, whatever the hell I feel like reviewing. Alright, so for my first one, I'm going to review Halloween 2018, which, if I'm being totally honest with myself, I went in with very low expectations. I wasn't at all expecting it to be as good as I personally saw it to be. The reason being is because the entire series as a whole, I've only seen about like 3. I've seen the original because it's the fucking original. It's good shit. I've seen the original. I have seen the Rob Zombie remake and the sequel to the Rob Zombie remake. Now, granted, I didn't like the sequel to the Rob Zombie remake. I liked the first one. I didn't like the second one because it got way too friggin' weird, with his fucking, devil shit. I just thought that it was really abstract and didn't really pertain to the character. That being said, I liked his first one. I thought that was gold. I loved it. I loved that one because Michael Myers has always been, one of my favorite pop culture characters. I grew up with him basically. I actually remember growing up, he was the first character that I was actually like afraid of. So, that kind of had a big impact on me. Sorry, lost my train of thought. He had a big impact on me, and growing up, I just, I've always wanted to see more of him. And that's what the Rob Zombie remake gave me. Because I've never touched any of the other movies because the general gist that I've always gotten from everyone is that they aren't very good. And, I didn't really want those movies to like leave a bad taste in my mouth with the character. So I stuck to the original and the 2007 remake. Those are my 2 go-tos for any Halloween movies. I like the original, it's the original, who doesn't like it? And I like the 2007 remake specifically because it gave Michael Myers a really interesting backstory. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like it. I don't really understand why they don't like it. I can see certain aspects of it why people don't like it, but overall, I think it's better than freaking Nightmare on Elm Street with the guy from Watchmen, or the fucking Friday the 13th remake where there was a sex scene every other fucking 5 minutes. That was stupid. I hated it. But back to Halloween 2018. Amazing. Spectacular. It was I'm not going to say perfect because that's too big a word to slap onto something, but it was great. It really went back to its roots, with the character, but this time he was like so much more brutal than he was in the original. And granted, that's probably because in the original they couldn't really show a whole lot because it was the 70s. You can't really show someone getting, like, decapitated in the 70s. But, the way they went about portraying his kills specifically just sort of showed that, his character, like, was done. He wasn't messing around anymore. He wasn't messing around to begin with, but he was doubly not messing around. He was not messing around times 2 or 3. I don't know. I'm not good at math. Anyway, there's a lot of aspects of the movie that I really liked. A lot of technical aspects. One of the main things that I really dug was how they kept him as sort of a background figure, just like in the original. Because in the original, you couldn't really pinpoint where he was because he was always on the move. He was always somewhere, and then he wasn't there anymore, but he was somewhere else. You just had to look for him. And I thought that was really great because that made him out to be this, sort of hunter-stalker that we hadn't really gotten before with any of these other movies. Like, Jason, he was just, walking around, I'll fucking kill you, and then that's it. Freddy Krueger, basically the same thing. He, tortured people and all that. But Michael, he was a hunter, and that shit was fucking scary. Now, with the Rob Zombie iteration, he was sort of along the same, lines, but not to this extent with the 2018 version. One thing I also really liked about the movie was how there were a lot of parallels to the original. In some instances, there were mirror shots throwing back to scenes from the original, like to the T. And it was really cool. Like, there's this scene where the new girl, Laurie's granddaughter, is sitting in class. It's the exact same classroom that Laurie sat in. And in the exact same seat. And she looks out the window, and whereas in the original you saw Michael standing there, it was now Laurie. And I thought that was so cool. Another thing that I really liked about it was the sound design. Now, with a lot of movies, I don't really go into that much detail with, talking about freaking sound design or, cinematography, because I'm not a fucking idiot. I don't talk about that kind of shit because I don't know anything about it. But with this movie, it really stood out because it was like they kept the basically the same soundtrack from the original. They had John Carpenter doing it, which was pretty fucking awesome. But they also had it like where they knew how to use sound, and they knew when no sound at all was a good sound. I don't know if that makes sense. It does to me, but I'm a fucking moron, so let me try to explain it some more. In the very end of the movie, when Laurie is hunting Michael down in the house, and there is nothing else besides her breathing and the creaking of the floorboards, that was fucking tense. Like, and that's how it is in real life. When you're terrified, every sound you hear is intimidating, and it's scary. And they really captured that, because you could hear the squeak of every floorboard. And then there was this one room she walked into, you could hear the fucking the clock on the wall ticking. That was awesome. And I mean, I really hope that a lot more horror movies take this route more often, because movies like Halloween 2018 or even A Quiet Place, which by the way I also loved, are showing that sometimes what you don't hear is more effective than what you do hear, or even more so effective than what you can see or can't see. And that is fucking brilliant. I'm not a filmmaker or anything, but I personally would have never thought of that shit, because I'm fucking stupid. So I really actually would like to be a filmmaker, but I wouldn't be any good at it probably. Alright, well, going back to the movie. It was great. The pacing was good. The first scene, honestly, I kind of felt was a little weird with he's showing the mask to Michael, and he's just yelling, "Say something!" And then the music just starts up. At that point, I was still a little, this might be a little rocky. But towards the middle of the movie, it really started finding its own footing, and that is when it got good. Because the whole reason I was worried this movie was going to suck was because I didn't want them to try, creating a new girl for Michael to hunt. Laurie's just a side. I honestly thought she was going to be a fucking cameo at best, But there's no new girl. The granddaughter doesn't mean shit. It's strictly a Michael and Laurie story, which was amazing to me. I loved it. It worked on every level. The writing was spectacular. The kills were good. And honestly, this is one of the only slasher movies where I kind of felt bad for everybody that was dying. Because in a lot of the movies, they portrayed all the people that got killed as like, fucking idiots. Going out, having a bunch of sex, just screwing everybody, and then, I'll be right back. And then they go off into the kitchen and get their fucking throat ripped out. But this one, I don't know, there was just something about all of the characters that, kind of made you feel bad. I especially felt bad for the guy that tried to kiss the granddaughter after she broke up with that fucking douchebag kid. And he's sitting there and he's crying to Michael because he sees him in the backyard and he's like, I don't know, man. I was just trying to kiss a really pretty girl. He's like, you probably don't want to hear about this, so I'll just go. And then Michael slices his arm and he's like, oh shit! And he tries running away. And he's like screaming his fucking head off, and then he just gets a knife to the back, and I was like, oh buddy. Oh no. Because honestly, I was that kind of kid in high school. You know, I was like, oh, you deserve so much better than the person you're with. Let me and everybody was always like, ew, just like with that kid. So that knife in the back, I really felt it. I felt it. I felt like it was meant for me. Anyway, it was a great movie. The soundtrack was perfect. The kills were great. The story was great. It wasn't just a rehash. It felt totally fresh. It was great. And this was probably the most intimidating Michael that I've ever seen. Granted, though, I've only seen like 3 versions of Michael. So, you know, I don't know. I don't really know what I'm talking about. Alright, what else can I say about the movie? The writing was good. They're talking about making a sequel, which I if it came out tomorrow, I would die a fucking happy man. Did you know that Danny McBride worked on the script for that? Like, Jesus Christ, dude. I didn't know you were fucking talented. I'm not going to say that. He is a funny guy. I just didn't know that he was actually a writer, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, it was a good movie. I really enjoyed it. I saw it twice. The first time I saw it in a regular theater. I went back the next night, watched it in IMAX. Totally worth the extra money. And I'll probably see it a third time because I'm just really feeling it right now. Alright, well, that's going to be it for this one. Thank you guys for watching, and, you know, I look forward to doing more reviews. I cannot fucking talk right now. I look forward to doing more reviews. Anyway, thank you guys again. Have a good day / night, whatever time of day it is for you, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.